Hi everyone, Mike White here. Welcome to this week's blog post. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving holiday and got some rest and relaxation and enjoyed your families. I think it's really important, especially this year, for us to wrap our minds around the fact that it has certainly been a crazy year for everyone. And for those of us in our particular industry, while others around us have been facing some real challenges when it comes to either being employed, staying employed, or working as much as they would normally do, we have been in our industry really running at a capacity rate for quite some time. And it's been really amazing to try to have people wrap their minds around the fact that we've had a tremendous opportunity for anybody listening or watching this. If you didn't have your career year in 2020, both in units and in dollar volume and in income, you probably want to step back and figure out why that is. And I think there's a complete mind shift that has to happen at this point, looking at the beginning of December and where we are and how to close out 2020 and roll into 2021 effectively. And I think it's really important that this comes down to the people, focusing on our people, our clients, our teams, our support staff, and most importantly, our families and friends, because I think, there's no reason for having a great year if it doesn't show up in the people that surround us and help us make it all possible, number one, and number two, and probably more important, how it impacts us and our family and friends, the ones that circle us immediately, because none of us stands alone. And I wrote down a few thoughts about getting a mindset and the focus on the people that surround us to kind of help us through the next 4 weeks of our businesses and looking toward Christmas and New Year's and understanding that, yes, the month's going to close, the year's going to close, but our business is going to remain as it always is, a flow business. There's nothing that really stops. I know we all reset the clock to zero on January the 2nd, but the reality of it is, you're carrying over relationships and files and people and clients and all those things. But how we deal with the month of December, I think, can really help us wind down from a tumultuous 2020 and step into 2021 with proper perspective and prepared for what may happen. So I think just a few steps. And first of all, make sure that every current file that is intended to close this month, it really needs to be focused that we're going to be smooth and the process is going to be consistent, and that any file scheduled to close in December, especially the last 2 weeks of December, really needs to be done no later than the 18th of December. We don't need any drama. We don't need any rush. We don't need any chaos. And that's for everybody involved in the file. The loans that close the last 2 weeks of December, we really need to put our efforts into making sure that everything that needs to be done is done and taken care of by the 18th. The second piece of the puzzle needs to be our pre-approvals. Who did we pre-approve in 2020? Who didn't close? Who's still active? And to what degree are they active? And, some people are out there still. I've had many of you have many contracts drop this week. People have been out looking. People are still out looking hard to find that house. And so there is that group of clients. There is the second group of people who are looking, but they're not looking as aggressively as the primary people. They're just as content. If they find something now, great. If they wait till January or February, that's fine. So they're engaged in the system, but they're not necessarily uh, fully committed to finding that house, immediately. They're in the process, but they're not as intense about it, if you will. The third group of people are the people that have turned the corner from Thanksgivings, want to buy a house, and just can't deal with facing the holidays and dealing with the house process right now. And they're gonna, for all practical purposes, pick up the search again after we come to January 2nd. Maybe they'll go back out looking again. And I guess last is the people that you pre-approved that you haven't heard from in a while, and hopefully that's not the case with anybody. But the primary first three groups of people you really need to sort out and get clear on how you're going to follow up and be supportive with them, because you don't want to hound people who are not actively engaged, and you don't want to disappear off the map from the people who are really out there intently looking, making sure that they're feeling comfortable and that their questions are answered. So it's really important for you to get perspective on those people and be able to focus your time accordingly. Again, the files that you have in now that are not going to close in December, but they're in process for files that are going to close in January. Well, you have to make sure that nothing falls between the cracks so that those early January closings do just that they close. And again, we get to a spot where if you've got a file in process or you're taking files in process, make sure that you're establishing the timeline, both with the clients and the referral partners, the agents that are involved, because we are going to see, those 2 weekends, Christmas weekend and New Year's weekend, for many of us, we're going to lose some days. Some it may only be a few days, some it'll be longer, and that's going to throw the timeline off. So let's make sure if we have those deals that are in process, especially the ones that are going to close in those first couple of weeks of January, that we are really aware of the timeline and what the obligations are to get things done so that it all happens and flows smoothly. Also in December, we really need to have conversations with each and every one of our referral partners, gauge their activity levels. I know if we look at the realtor side of the triangle, some are winding some things down, and they're not spending a lot of time out there because they themselves have had good years. Others are very actively engaged and working on deals that are closing in December and setting up deals to close in January. Not everybody's the same. So go through your referral partners and make sure you're just aware of what, engage their intent of how active they're going to be. More importantly is the other side of the triangle, your other professionals. Let's be honest, accountants, financial planners, money managers, those people, all of them, it's really important to touch base with and bring them into the fold as to the changes in the Fannie Mae limits, where interest rates are, how the housing market is looking, simply because every one of those people is going to be in touch with every one of their people at least once, if not more, in the next 60 to 90 days. Getting in front of those professionals and giving them important information about how you can be a resource and how they can provide more value to their clients by offering your services is a huge opportunity that often goes missed. So if you're not going to make those phone calls in the next few weeks to talk to those accountants and financial planners and money managers, and at least get on the same page and make them aware, you'd be shocked at the number of people out there, financial professionals. They're not watching the mortgage market every day. They have no understanding of what the Fannie Mae limits may mean versus, people who closed on jumbo loans, or the differences between the costs of jumbo or the ability or the speed at which you can close a jumbo loan. And again, the time frame between how those things happen. And if any of their clients are thinking about buying or selling a home in the next couple of years, now might be really the time they want to look at that, because let's face it, home prices are probably going to continue to rise, and we're not sure how much longer we can count on 2% interest rates. I think also now we have to take time to listen to our team, have them share their stories of the work that they've done this year. We've all experienced high levels of capacity, and there may be some information and feedback that they can provide us as a group to talk about. Maybe there are some changes we can make in our systems, how the workflow flows, things that they're seeing, things that would make their job easier or better, or maybe everything is working fine, and to hear positive feedback of how well we've managed this is something that you need to hear. But it's important that you offer them the opportunity to have a conversation about things, because getting that feedback may help you look at your process, look at your systems and your timelines, and allow you to make any adjustments that may be necessary to help you if and likely this volume of business continues. You also need to spend some time making sure that you're crafting your holiday message to your clients and your database. And let's be honest, I don't want email blasts. Email blasts to everybody in your data is going to be a waste. A handwritten note, a phone call, you're going to have the time to go through those things and share that information. Even if it, social media posts with video, all can be very helpful to your group of people, because it does need to be personal. You don't want to make with so many things now being impersonal and indirect. Some direct communication with the people in your database, your referral partners. It's harder now because we can't have those big group events that we're used to having this time of year. So we're not going to be able to put a lot of people in one spot. So person-to-person communications, even if you're only knocking out 10 calls in the morning and 10 in the afternoon, maybe you only reach a few hundred people between now and the end of the year. Those personal touches, I think, are going to be highly important and would be very valuable to you. So remember, these are the things that are really important to deal with. And last but not least, it's certainly your friends and your family. Take a look at the schedule. I want you getting your files wrapped up. I'm not telling you to go away the last 2 weeks of 2020. If some of you may be, and that's fine. I need you to be available. I need you paying attention, but not as if it's a full-time situation. You can check your email and you can check your voicemail a couple of times a day, in the morning and the afternoon. Do the preparation so that you're not necessarily in a place where you have to respond instantly to every demand of your time and energy, because spending time with your family, relaxing yourself, enjoying the fruits of your labor are more important now than ever before. And they're going to be that break. They're going to be that reward that you give yourself and your family to show this is why we spent the time doing what we did, so that we have the ability to share with each other, spend time with each other, enjoy each other before we start a new year and walk into the future. Hopefully you'll take this to heart and you'll plan. As always, you can reach me at mike@intcoaching.com, and we'll talk to you again next week. Take care.